Hello everyone! To be honest, I didn't initially expect to write this mini review. However, after finishing the Far Cry DLC Escape from Durgesh's prison, I changed my mind. This expansion deserves a few words. If you remember the original Far Cry 4, you travel to the Himalayas to fulfill the last wish of your deceased mother. However, your path is crossed by an absolutely maniac named Pagan Min. As time goes on, you'd learn that he is actually your playful stepbrother, and while he may have, let's say, a few flaws, you may actually end up quite liking him. Or not. It's up to you how you end the game. In any case, 2 DLCs were released for this Far Cry 4. One of them, Valley of the Yetis, is essentially a classic DLC. You expect some new missions, environments, and perhaps new weapons or enemies. But then, there is Escape from Durgesh's prison, which came with a completely different concept. Expecting new weapons? Total luck. New environment? Not a chance. The game takes place on the half of the original game's map. Okay, new enemies? Abilities? Or something? No, not at all. You get absolutely nothing new. That sounds quite boring, so why mention such a thing? Because you get a task. A damn difficult task. Are you familiar with Dark Souls? Well, I will be surprised if you weren't. Dark Souls is a difficult game, mainly because you simply cannot save your progress whenever you want, and if you don't reach the next bonfire, you are out of luck. Boss fights, especially, you may play over and over again. Want to increase your chance of success? Then you will have to farm souls and upgrade your abilities. And what does that have to do with Far Cry? Surprisingly, quite a lot. For example, expect the worst. If you felt Dark Souls was unfair because you couldn't save your game reasonably and bonfires were far apart, then a real challenge awaits you here. Why? You cannot save the game here. Yes? You simply cannot save. Either you finish the entire playthrough or you are out of luck and have to start again. Wait. Something doesn't end up here. If the game cannot be saved, it must be only a few minutes, maybe a few tens of minutes long. Yes? That is both true and not true. You initially have 30 minutes for the entire game. However, you eventually realize that time is actually not your biggest enemy. By completing tasks and missions, you gain extra minutes. Yet, you may still finish the game in only 30 minutes. How it is possible? Because you will play it over and over again many times. And here comes the parallel with Dark Souls. Do you want to finish the game in a few minutes? No problem! If you can manage it. So, what do you have to do? Well, nothing too difficult initially. Pagan Min, who is acting quite friendly here by the way, tells you that you should get to an extraction point within half an hour, where you will meet your friends and simply fly away. Well, you can get to that spot in a few minutes, but the problem is that in order to fly away, you have to protect the helicopter for 10 minutes. Well, that's where things start to smell a bit, because unless you are truly a Superman who fights Dark Souls bosses fair and square with his fists, you don't stand a chance. You must accumulate a lot of experience and then use it to buy character upgrades, as well as craft better gears. The ability to carry more weapons and hold more ammo. This is very similar to farming souls in Dark Souls because you will play the game over and over again to gain as much experience as possible. I'll just mention one issue here. When you die, your character upgrades carry over to subsequent playthroughs. Great, but the game has a bug. If, for example, you clear a village, gain experience, and whether you use it or not, if you save the game and quit, it often happens that your previous progress is not saved. The only certainty is to die. But how? When you have just cleared the village? Well, you simply have to find someone who will take you out, and this cycle repeats over and over again. So, we have the gears and the upgraded abilities. Can we go for a helicopter now? It's still not a good idea. Pagan Min gives you 5 tasks. When you complete a task, you can count on getting assistance at the helicopter, and this can include medikits or armor, barrels to shoot for explosions, cages with animals, but also help from allies or built-in machine guns. By the way, if you completed the mission that rewards you with the machine guns at the helicopter, you have almost won. And what do you have to do? For example, kill generals with a knife and take their photos, destroy supply depots, blow up convoys, deactivate bombs, or rescue hostages. The individual missions are short, each lasting a few minutes, yet the pressure will rise to the maximum because here is the rule. If you die, the game doesn't save and you have to replay the missions. The problem is also that if you fail a mission, you get nothing and have no way to repeat it. Miss the boat in the convoy? Too bad, you lose the machine guns and you really don't want to lose those. Raise the alarm and kill the hostages? Too bad. No allies will come to your aid, and trust me, every bit of help at the end of the game is valuable. Repelling ordinary soldiers is not that difficult, but when the flamethrowers enemy arrive, they are capable of roasting the helicopter in a few seconds, and several of them arrive at once. So, now you understand why I'm talking about this game. It offers nothing new and it's strange. Nevertheless, it is one of the most interesting, most original and most thrilling expansions I have ever played, and if you like challenges, this is simply something you cannot miss.